Sometimes, the smallest towns hold the darkest secrets, and sometimes, the loudest cry for justice is whispered through the smoke of something unspeakable. Tonight, we travel down a lonely back road in Courtland, Mississippi, a place surrounded by pine trees, cotton fields, and a stillness so deep it almost hums. This is the story of Jessica Chambers, a 19-year-old girl whose final words still echo through the woods, and whose death became one of the most chilling modern mysteries in the American South. Jessica was the kind of girl who could walk into a room and light it up. A small-town southern beauty with a quick laugh, a stubborn streak, and a restless heart. She grew up in Courtland, where everybody knew your name, your car, and your family's business. She was the youngest of several siblings, and after losing her brother Alan in a car crash, Jessica's once sunny world darkened. Her mother, Lisa, said Jessica changed after that. She started hanging around a new crowd, parties, late nights, boyfriends her parents didn't quite trust. But she was still that girl trying to find her footing, balancing grief, rebellion, and hope. During the day, she worked part-time at a boutique and dreamed of becoming a nurse. She loved her little dog, her car, a pale green 2005 Kia Rio, and the music she'd blast down the long country roads. Those who knew her described her as sweet but troubled. And on December 6th, 2014, no one could have imagined that it would be her last day alive. At around 5 p.m., Jessica stopped at the M&M First Stop gas station, a small roadside spot every local had passed through 100 times. CCTV cameras caught her pulling up, stepping out, wearing a light-colored shirt and pants, her blonde hair pulled up in a ponytail. She looked calm, ordinary. She chatted with Ali Al-Sanai, the clerk who was working behind the counter. Ali later said she didn't seem scared. She wasn't running from anyone. She was just there, buying gas, maybe a snack, before heading out again. But what's chilling is what comes next. Because after that stop, Jessica's phone records would show a series of short, disconnected trips, almost aimless, between Courtland and Batesville. Some believe she was meeting someone, others think she was being followed. Her last known call to her mother was short and casual. "I'll be home soon, Mama." But she never made it. As night crept in, temperatures dropped into the low 40s. The woods grew darker, the roads emptier. And somewhere along Heron Road, something went terribly wrong. At 8:10 p.m., a local driver spotted what looked like a brush fire, flames licking into the sky from the tree line. When the volunteer firefighters arrived, they saw the silhouette of a car engulfed in fire, orange light bouncing off the trees. But then, a movement. From the edge of the flames, a figure staggered out. It was Jessica, barely recognizable. Her hair gone, her skin blackened and peeling, clothing burned away except for fragments of underwear. She was walking, not running, as if her body hadn't yet accepted it was dying. The firefighters froze. For a moment, They thought she was a ghost. Fire Chief Cole Haley ran to her, his radio shaking in his hand. He later said, "I've never seen anything like it. She was just melting." But she was alive. She was trying to talk. Jessica's voice was barely a whisper. Her lips were charred, her throat raw with fire. But she tried to speak. Haley leaned close and asked, "Who did this to you?" And through the distortion of pain, Jessica said the name.
Eric.
Another responder heard Derek, a third Jarek. But she repeated it more than once. And that word, that one name, would become the cornerstone of the entire investigation. Jessica was rushed to Regional One Health Medical Center in Memphis, suffering burns over 98% of her body. Only the soles of her feet were untouched, evidence that she'd been walking, alive, as the fire devoured her. She clung to life for several hours before dying the next morning. Panola County investigators swarmed Heron Road that night. Jessica's Kia Rio was reduced to a skeleton, its interior melted, glass gone. The smell of gasoline was overwhelming. The passenger seat had traces of accelerant, leading investigators to believe she'd been doused and lit inside the vehicle. But there was no clear sign of struggle, no weapon, no obvious suspect. Only one clue, the name. Dozens of Erics and Dereks from the area were questioned. They pulled in ex-boyfriends, acquaintances, even complete strangers with those names. Weeks went by. Leads dried up. Then, a break. A man named Quinton Tellis, 27, entered the picture. He'd been texting Jessica that day. Phone records placed him near the scene. He had a history: burglary, theft, even violence. And he'd suddenly left town after her murder. Police zeroed in on him. They found his DNA on Jessica's car keys, tossed in a ditch not far from the scene. He denied involvement, insisting he'd last seen her hours earlier. The timeline didn't fit neatly, but his story shifted under pressure. And his phone pings, one at a cell tower close to Heron Road, became their smoking gun. Still, something didn't add up. Every single first responder swore Jessica said Eric, not Quinton.
Tellis was arrested and charged with Jessica's murder in 2016. The trial was harrowing. The prosecution painted him as a manipulator, a man who had lured Jessica out that night, set her on fire after an argument or rejection, then tried to erase it all. But the defense hammered a single point: speech. Could a person with 98% burns, with her lungs scorched and tongue destroyed, truly speak any name? Experts were divided. Some said no human could utter intelligible words in that condition. Others said shock and adrenaline can produce the impossible. The jurors couldn't agree. Twice, 2 trials,
2 hung juries. Tellis walked free on this charge, though he was later jailed in Louisiana on unrelated counts and tied to another woman's suspicious death. But for Jessica's case, no conviction, no closure. Nearly a decade later, Courtland remains haunted. Some locals believe Jessica was caught in something deeper: drug roots, retaliation, mistaken identity. Others think the name Eric was never meant to identify her killer, that it was a fragmented echo of her own suffering, a word she couldn't control. But her family still holds vigils every December. They walk the same roads. They touch the bark of the trees scorched by the fire. And they wait, because even after all these years, one question burns louder than the flames ever did. Who poured the gasoline? Who struck the match? And who was Eric? In the end, Jessica's voice became the most haunting evidence of all, a voice that defied death itself. Maybe one day her final words will finally be heard for what they truly were.
Hit that like button if you enjoy scary stories like these. Also subscribe so you never miss out on any videos as we uncover and walk through the veil.